Hello everyone, it's Open House Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Moriah Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. Hello.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
We're doing amazing.
Biagilo, what's up with you?
I'm good. I just, our leave will be ending soon. And I did not enjoy the leave one day because
Traffic or what?
no, our guy is always on the phone. He's working more than the people in the office. So he did not even have time to pay attention to me. And I'm complaining. He did not try.
He's been following up to the office, so did you know?
He did not try, Joe.
Are you for
And
it?
he's resuming next week, so I don't know.
She's very greedy.
You want to
Why
shop
is she greedy?
Oh.
Are you wearing my
That followed
shoes?
her to spa. What do you want? You gave him a PND.
I know the try I need,
I
though.
beg.
Me, I know the try I need.
You are greedy.
He has not had time for me, so I'm complaining
You're looking for
on
Beku,
national
Beku.
TV.
You want to blow belly.
Beku. How you doing, Nima?
I'm grateful to God, though. Very grateful to God for life. Yes, I'm grateful to God for life, for a lot of other things. And I'm very scared because the factories around me are largely run by Chinese. They are returning after their new year.
And the issue is that they're going to start the factories back or what?
You know, they've gone home for their new year, and immediately after, they will come back to Nigeria, and there's something in their country they should not gift us with when they are returning.
Pollution.
The virus that is killing them.
And they should not check it into their luggage.
Some of them are, picky because, of course, it's a hemorrhagic, and the virus is all like the Ebola virus that you can just inhale.
Anything at all. The Chinese are quite careful when it comes to that.
But they have
see
an
people wearing
outbreak.
masks.
Their business is one case has been reported in the US, and that's
I think what is
we
more
want.
important is that we should alert the customs to ensure that everybody has the right people, they have the right vaccines. The vaccines they take before they come into the country.
They are yellow
sure.
fever.
I
No,
know.
this
Injections.
particular one is a new strain. It doesn't have any cure.
Yes.
So you can only quarantine the person, and that's it.
Okay, we just need to be alert when
We
people
need
are
all those
coming back.
our gun things that we're using for Ebola that time.
God
Check
forbid.
temperature.
No,
If you
it's
get
How you
to that
doing?
need to really check.
Good to have you in the building. How you doing, lady?
I'm good. I have to apologize for my voice. I've been running on 3 hours sleep every day because, when I come to Nigeria, I just can't stop. I'm always so excited. I came back from Abuja yesterday and it was fun. And I was writing on my social media that I'd only been there 4 times in my life. Once to see it with friends, second time for a birthday, third time to try and get my son a document we didn't get. And it was a very sad occasion. And then yesterday just made up for all the times I'd ever been there. It was
Had fun, right?
Yes, it
Did
was
you buy
beautiful.
kilishi or something?
I didn't. The guy was following me and I couldn't find the money in my bag and we were running behind. Why
Thank
not?
God he didn't buy it.
At the airport,
It's
right?
the wrong decision to buy at the airport.
I wanted to. I
It's
thought it was
discount.
well packaged.
Oh yeah. If you,
Area
had told us,
one.
if you had told us, would have linked you up with our office in Abuja.
They would have
They'll
come.
sort you out. I have a few colleagues. They will just call them up. They'll take it to area 1, Farabale, buy the correct.
Okay, I will go again soon.
Next time, so
Jesus.
just let us know you're going. Cool. Anything else? We still have a few more.
Tell us.
I'm fine. I mean, no, my son wasn't feeling well. He had some shots, so
we
he's
didn't
better
know
now.
that. Okay.
It was a bit of a scare, When temperatures really rise, I just try to do the first aid, get him bathed with cold water, but he's better now. Thank God. Strong boy.
Forget how babies act at that age. What would be the first remedy that you think
First thing you do is use the water, the damp cloth, to try to get the mopping
Bring the
up.
temperature
If the
down.
temperature doesn't come down,
Temperature
yes. If it doesn't
or
come,
colder.
take it to the bathtub. Me, I
run some
bath
water
plenty
on.
water. Though the nurses always tell you don't do that.
Yeah.
But I do.
I think it
Yeah,
shocks them.
I didn't do the extreme because my husband was so nervous. He went to go and get ice block,
Egbe.
put in the bucket, put it in.
Count
As
down.
an Oyibo man.
Not that difficult. Just normal room temperature water is okay,
Just
and then let him air dry,
Yeah.
and then that
But
temperature came
then
down.
you should have first aid, paracetamol, and ibuprofen.
Now, I usually have paracetamol
and
down.
baby
For that day, for whatever reason, the kids have not been ill in a while, so we didn't have
Thank God for
anything.
that.
I was so upset that we didn't have anything. I was so angry with myself. But thank God we were able to manage it till morning, and then we got the paracetamol for him. So he's better. We thank God for that.
Thank God, it's not easy.
Okay, let's go. But please, man, don't use ice block. It's bad. I mean, he actually ran upstairs with blocks of ice.
Clueless.
I'm like, bro.
He's such an overzealous father. I find his stories amazing when you talk about him and the kids. But to think that he will go and bring
Yeah,
ice water to Ture to come and calm it down.
All right, that's all we can take. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're going to start with The Nation. Tinubu Amotekun, not threat to national unity. State government council battle over $2.6 billion Paris Club refund. 18 die as Lassa fever spreads to 9 states. 7 killed in Lagos cult war. More outrage over killing of cleric and students. Kalu Ndidi tip Eagles to lead Group C. An Army general forfeits seized $376,000. Okay.
So I'd like to take the killing.
Okay.
In
Lagos.
Boko Haram killing. Yes.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
So the Khan Association for Adamawa that was killed, getting reactions to that, but a 200-level student of Maiduguri who was kidnapped along with another student of the University of Maiduguri was shot, and the video was viral yesterday. So it made papers that his family were reacting because that video was also released to them, and they've confirmed that it's the young man that was killed. I remember watching the video, and I was saying to Biajulu, this sort of things just spoil my day for the full day. But it's more painful that, you know, the people who have the means and power to change this narrative also say the same thing I say.
So you're helpless.
Like, as if they're helpless.
Yeah.
So they're in leadership. We've had the honorable member representing the constituency where he's from in Plateau State. We've had the governor of Plateau State. Everybody just talking. I'd like to see the character, some people with the character of the former governor of Borno State, who made all the noise about his people's welfare and how Boko Haram was taking his people. He made it an international case.
They didn't
listen, but he made his case. He got JTF.
Yeah. Okay.
He got JTF because, you know, he kept shouting, my people are being attacked, we are not safe.
I need to move
It's
on.
beyond all this saddens us. This is heartbreaking.
The rhetoric we get,
That's
yes.
the helpless statement every Nigerian
Let's
will
pick
make.
one more story in The Nation.
The cult clash.
The cult
in
clashes, go ahead.
Ikorodu. Yeah, so this particular cult, KK and ARA confraternities had issues. So according to the story, one of the guys from I think the ARA was stabbed, and they took him to the hospital. They rushed him to the hospital. The government hospital rejected him, and they had to take him to another hospital. So while in the process of that, his partners, his cult members felt he was dead, and they went for a reprisal attack. And so far, they've killed about 7 persons. Investigations are ongoing. I don't know how to curtail these young men from taking lives just like that.
It's really sad.
Kai.
Moving on to The Punch. Amotekun comment. Southwest governors back Tinubu. Afenfere hits APC leader. Commissioner of Police orders inspectors arrest over Akwa Ibom widows killing. Nigeria's doctor-patient ratio is 1,000. No, not 1,000. One person, one doctor to 3,500 patients, says NUC. Woman herbalist orders convicted of dealing in human parts. 7 killed in Lagos cult clash. FG awaits US as Trump sets to slam visa restriction on Nigeria. Refineries posted 123.3 billion naira loss in 10 months. Let's talk about Amotekun for a second, and then we'll talk about the human interest.
So the APC leader, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, finally, because everybody was waiting for him, wanted to hear him speak, finally spoke at 3 weeks after the Amotekun was launched, and some Afenifere leaders had a problem with it. I particularly appreciate the fact that he took his time to digest the issues, and he clearly stated that, yes, the governors are taking the IG along in their plans to start the Amotekun, but they didn't take the AG along. And the AG was quick to react on a matter he could also have, settled and investigated more behind. So now, yes, Amotekun is not really a threat to the nation and our unity, but the people who are dragging it left, right, and center are capable of doing that damage themselves.
Furthermore, he also said that, you see, he did the pros and cons of the Amotekun.
Exactly.
And he felt that the threat, the fact that you give them uniforms, they usually an intelligence unit don't need uniforms. CIA in America,
in plain sight.
In other countries, they don't go around with uniforms. So when you give them uniforms, it's coming across as though it's something beyond gathering intelligence. Gathering intelligence. So that was his worry.
It's also important that he took this neutral stand to balance things so that people don't continue to say it's a Western Nigeria agenda for him to become president. Because I've heard that argument left, right, and center. I'm wondering.
The question I have very quickly is who's going to regulate their excesses when they start? Because they will start.
Of course.
Who?
Yeah. And that's the regional operation he had an issue with. That how do you have a regional center such that there are things, crimes happening in maybe Lekki, and you have to now report somebody maybe in the station.
But
in
you
Oyo.
so let's not rush these people. They are still starting. The framework has not even been spelled out. So
But Afenifere has said very clearly that Tinubu is speaking with two sides of his mouth.
They
And
have
one second, Yinka Odumake is speaking on behalf of Afenifere, and his point is that Tinubu did not clearly declare the fact that the Southwest is trying to actually provide Amotekun for the protection of security of the Southwest.
But that's what we've been hearing. That's what
an elder statesman. Yes. He's not a leader of a pressure group that Yinka Odumake is. They are not supposed to speak from the same point of view. He's supposed to express the point of view, which I think he
because he knows. Okay.
So now that Tinubu has spoken, I'm sure we're going to get different responses to his. But let's pick the human interest story.
Yes. So this police Inspector Bassi Ikbe in that Akwa Ibom allegedly killed a widow who came to the police station. I think they had a land case that he was overseeing. They had that issue. So he asked the widow to come to the police to show herself so that they can go on with the investigations. Then she came, she told him that she wasn't feeling so good. In anger, he used her head to slam on that, you know, the keke napep, the iron bar of the keke napep, and then she slumped and died. So the Commissioner of Police is investigating. He's been arrested already. They're looking into it to really assess.
Moving on to Daily Sun. U.S. to slam travel ban on Nigeria. Amotekun, no threat to Nigeria's unity, says Tinubu. Nigeria failing state, says Ohaneze. EFCC accuses foreign partners of sabotaging the Azanis trial. Imo, reverse judgment, Bishop Chukwuma tells Supreme Court. And $1.1 billion Malibu oil scam, Adoke's arraignment stalled to appear again today. Let's talk about the U.S. slamming.
Yes, so the Wall Street Journal has written that some countries will face a U.S. ban. That's a form of restriction for them getting into the U.S. But the presidency is saying that though there were speculations that Nigeria is one of those countries, I think about 7 of the countries. So the presidency is saying that we should not panic. At least when the real list comes out, they haven't been told anything, they are just speculations. Then they will look at it and find out. And there's also speculations that the list may likely change. So we are waiting. Yes, whatever it is.
I think we too should start bringing restrictions to who comes to our country as a retaliation, because they seem to think we need them more than they need us.
But we need them more than
we really don't. We've just kind of like given them this authority over everybody, because I was discussing it with a friend the other day that US seems to think they're the firstborn of the universe. And all of us are the younger brothers and sisters, and they can do with us as they please.
Yeah.
Younger brothers and sisters mature at a certain point, and they will tell brother US.
Do you think we have?
We have matured. But I think Bominira, as in when we can't totally stand on our own, we still need support. But that doesn't mean that.
I think there's a conversation for another day. I think it's a good point you made. Let's move on to Vanguard. Afenifere, Arewa youths, Oyetola, others back Tinubu. 7 soldiers killed in ISWAP attack. Insecurity, North. Central governors, stakeholders adopt community policing. Anglican bishop reject Imo verdict, asks CJN to resign. Nigeria on alert as China's mystery coronavirus spreads. Trump considers travel ban for Nigeria and others. So that's what Nima was talking about earlier, about the coronavirus spreading in China. And as they are returning, we should be sure that the borders are rigid enough to ensure that they don't bring in these viruses.
Yes.
Okay, so which other story are we taking in Vanguard?
Finish the story.
The Anglican bishop in Imo protesting the judgment in Imo State and asking the CJN to reverse himself. I think it's belated, and I think they should be guided already because a lot of reactions have followed all the subsequent protests. I would like that, if they wanted to protest that, they should also protest the judgment for Sokoto and other states that have confirmed PDP.
Daily Trust, our last paper for this morning, Lassa fever death toll. And I think I like the fact that Daily Trust has a breakdown. Ondo has confirmed 89 cases, Edo 18 cases, Ebonyi 5 cases, Taraba 5 cases, Plateau 2 cases, Bauchi and Ogun 1 case each. And they've given a breakdown of all the various symptoms: fever, headache, sore throat, body weakness, cough, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, quite a bit of things. But it's sad that we've lost 14 people so far, according to this report. Yesterday was 16, but here in the papers I'm seeing 40. But go ahead, Nima.
This morning in Ondo, 16 people, 1 in Delta, 1 in Edo, and 2 cases reported in Delta, 1 has died already. We have cases, about 5 cases in Bauchi, also in this Daily Trust article. These are diseases that, Lassa fever is not strange to Nigeria.
So we shouldn't be talking about
disease
it at
and
this point.
Center for Disease Control and all that should be on top of it already. It's spreading beyond Ondo where it started and is moving fast into other states in Nigeria where they have issues of where to quarantine. They still have issues of how to trace. In one of the states, they said, in Delta State particularly, they said tracing has just commenced. I think we should be on top. When you say disease.
Because we've heard it so many years in a row. And I mean, if we could conquer Ebola.
Yes.
I don't understand why this Lassa thing seems to go on.
Lassa is not a poor man disease too alone.
Exactly.
Because
Okay,
they're looking
let
at
me
it
quickly
like
take Nigerian Tribune. Amotekun Yoruba leaders knock Tinubu, accuse him of not taking a stand as he falls Southwest Governor's Malami. Wants governors to hold private meeting with Malami and says Amotekun opportunity to redefine Nigeria's federalism. We have to run up, but I think Amotekun's story is not going away. And I think what Tinubu, the summary of his article was that there's need for dialogue.
Yeah.
The governors need to have a sit down again with the AGF, who should have been carried along in the beginning, and then try to iron out the gray areas. I'm not sure he's against Amotekun, but I think he believes and totally agrees that is what the Southwest needs. However, because there are lots of political angles of this, politicians are twisting the stories.
Yeah.
So we need to have a proper, I think we'll probably do a show on this sometime next week to get better clarity now that we're seeing people talking about it.
And find the founders.
All right,
and find...
that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, today's Thursday, we're gisting all the way. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So there is an ongoing debate on who deserves more promotion between a graduate who knows the rudiments of a job and a double master's degree holder who is also new on the job. Now, we ask, who should be the experienced, or should it be the person that is more experienced or the person with the better qualifications? Join the conversation. You can call us on 070-80668014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Right.
I want to talk.
Okay. Are you? Well, let me go ahead while you're setting
No,
up.
I'm set. I'm set. You see, sorry about that. I think it's funny how it happens. You would think that the person that has the degree, according to the world, would be the first to get the job. But they say the person that has the experience has figured out a way to do the job in less time, most time, based on the experience, based on what has failed, what has worked over and over again. Unfortunately for us Nigerians, we tend to tell our kids, at least in the generation that raised us, that you don't stop at the first degree, you go for a master's, maybe even a PhD. By the time you're done doing that, someone that went to, if it was abroad, someone that went to vocational school of training would be your boss, right? Because you've wasted time in school. So nowadays, because we know better, we're about to start doing better, in which case we're thinking about experience. And I'm beginning to think wasting time in school is just a waste of time.
Okay, I disagree with you there because I know that experience can be learnt over time. And there is nobody is born with experience. So you get into a job, no matter how qualified you are for that job, you just need to be trained and you get it. And I'm going to give you an example with myself. I remember when I finished NYS, the very first job I did was in all these Lebanese companies. So they needed somebody to handle the numbers. The person who was working there, who wasn't a graduate, but she's been there for, I think about 5 years, was going for a wedding. So she needed a month. And they wanted somebody to replace her. And I got there. In a few hours, I was taught the job and I was delivering. And then everybody came and, not be this person will just come now and I don't they do this work, you know. But it was something that took that other lady a longer time. Now, what happened in this case is the fact that, you know, when you go to school and you read more, you expand your horizon. You are able to take in more because you are getting information at a very limited time and you are processing, you are evaluating. So it just takes an explanation of what this job entails, and you see that the person who is more qualified will do the job better than even the one who's experienced. No, I'm giving you examples now from my life now, who is more experienced. So I will go for the person who has got the masters because I know that you have read wide. You are better equipped. Your brain has bigger capacity to handle this job. I just train you for a few weeks and you will deliver. You will make your mistakes as well, even with the person who has the experience. So that's it for me.
Let me just see to Laide's side better because life has taught us differently. I know being people who are pragmatic, and in environments where there are pragmatic people, they know the people who have experienced value more. When my dad was consulting for Mobile, I remember he came back once and was saying, there's a young white boy in my class. He's not registered as a staff of Mobile, but he's attending my class. Eventually, that's the person who took over his contract with Mobile. He came to understudy him. Yeah. He was with him for 6 months, coming to class, and eventually he confessed and said, I don't know this job, but they've told me to come as expert. My people say they will arrange something for me. And because Nigerians fall for everybody that has certificates, he came with all the big Ivy League certificates, but he knew nothing about fire safety. He knew nothing about water safety. It took my father's 35 years experience as a firefighter to get this boy the contract. So he knew that he had to understudy him. That's us picking certificates over experience and taking risk that we cannot. Because if something unexpected happens that is beyond what this boy can look up on Google or in the books, what do you do? And once when such a thing happened, he was shouting, allergy, 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 all through training. Right. So it's very important that we put priority, because Nigeria now, the reality has even happened on us.
But there's an angle that everybody wants growth. You see, if we are used to doing things the same way over and over, so for example, if you're a civil servant and you know, carry this to point B, and that's the process, and you have become an expert at carrying paper from point A to point B, and you do that continuously, there's no growth. There's no growth. When somebody comes in from outside, that has maybe not the same experience, but has maybe like a wider vision. Wider perception. Okay, there's a process, there's a better way of doing this. Yeah. Don't go from A to B. Let's go. So you have become an expert at point A to point B, but he's coming in with the new knowledge that no, we can go it this way, it goes faster. So instead of making it look as though only the person that has the experience, he will do it, you'll be an expert. And
could I say,
quickly, may I just quickly respond? With the example I gave, I disagree. Okay. So if that young man was a firefighter in anywhere in the world, and he had the experience every firefighter on the field has, that argument I would allow.
I would think
because every job is peculiar in its own.
Let's say it depends on the industry. There's the way to make it make sense.
Exactly.
Because when you're talking about, I mean, you can't come with someone who's in the medical field and be talking about experience. Because we have women that have been shadowing doctor, that's experience, but that doesn't make you qualified to perform the same surgeries. Okay. So it depends on the industry. Right. And to let a layman understand it better, there's a catering school and they're teaching you how to fry akara. By the technology of mixing, measure 2 cups of whatever.
In the machine.
You cannot outshine Omoyajebu that has been sitting with this akara for 5 years, regardless of what your catering degree is. Because she knows the temperature of the oil. Just by looking at it, she knows what to put in it and test it. So I think the bottom line is just based on industry.
Let's go back to the akara story.
Okay.
So yes,
you like the akara story?
Whoever comes up and they do the akara. As we know, it's oily, undefined, or looking like an amoeba.
Yes.
And somebody comes in and says, you know what, there's a way you can do it. There's more packaged better. And it's more,
let me tell you,
there's more appealing.
Let me add garlic to the akara.
Almost done. Let me add garlic. With the same, even better taste. Yes. And at a faster, quicker time. Yes. So you're spending 1 hour. Yes. Let the Aurora bath before you do this. And they're telling you, once you put the thermometer here, you get the temperature, and you're good to go. The point I'm trying to make is that, listen, we can all choose to stay in the Stone Ages.
Yes.
And say, we are used to doing things exactly over there.
Thank you.
And say, you know what, I want somebody who has been able to innovate and make things better and faster.
No.
Let me ask my Oga. Let me ask my Oga.
Yeah, so you know that when I talk about being the qualifications, I'm not just talking about people who went to school and they don't know why they went there, go and come out with a pass. I'm talking about people who went to school who know their onions. So if you bring out someone who is qualified, who knows what it's supposed to be, and is coming into an industry that he or she is suited for, I believe every company, when they employ you, there's always a grace for training, no matter how qualified you are. That person would definitely deliver more when that person is being trained.
Based on what you have said, based on what you have said, Obiajulu, is the same training that you put into your workforce. There's something called, when you have an HR department, and that HR department does not look at quarterly and seasonal training for the workforce that they have. Of course, your business will fail.
Of course.
So what is your vision for your business? What exactly do you need to advance? Are there new techniques that you need to put into your workforce rather than say, okay, bring certificate to double masters?
It's not about
no, it's the same thing, because this Akara example you are giving.
My example.
They learn Akara for catering school.
They know they learn am
trust
o.
me,
I know
the
be
person
live-
wey know how to do im biz for more than I
They
dey
fit
do
learn
their akara
packaging.
well. Our mothers have been masters at it. Me particularly, I remember getting married and I used to think,
I'm waiting on you,
sorry,
shey
no
you
vex, I could fry the best of akaras because I'm a Omelero, I can read book and my mother used to fry the best of akaras. But my mother-in-law's akara schooled me.
It depends on how you like your akara. Nima.
Exactly.
No. This packaging thing
No,
on akara.
Because I fried the
And
most
it's what you're
amazing
used to.
akara I know. Yeah.
Okay, so back to the akara, because we will eat it with gari later to drive this point home. Bottom line, it's still a case of the industry or whatever, or who you're catering to, who your services or
Your
products,
market.
whoever you're giving it to. You remember when they introduced this gari serving thing at parties?
Yes.
You would say someone that has education, has learned about the presentation and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, there's only one way to make amala and abula. Whether you now bring a beautiful white bowl, put a spoon as opposed to the fork or whatever, fine. It's not the experience that got you that. It's the qualification of we could do it better for a presentation like this. But the thing is that some people still want it the same way.
Yeah.
Look at wines and perfumes and things like that, that people would say, oh, this is a 50-year-old whiskey, right? With technology, they found a way to give you that same taste. But the people who are connoisseurs and collectors would not pay for the one that they just manufactured 2017. They'll be like the technique that they use, which is the illiterate technique, gives quality.
My mother-in-law spends hours. She wants to make you pounded yam. And like, I remember my father-in-law was complaining because we are planning to eat pounded yam. Maybe she does the goose is ready by 5 p.m. Before they peel the yam, do everything. Pounded yam, but before eating dinner, we at 9 p.m., 10 p.m.
For
because
real?
of all the mortar.
Ceremony.
The point I'm trying to make is that when you bring in somebody who has a bit more innovative knowledge, they tell you there's a machine that you can throw this in and get it out to you in X amount of minutes. I'm not totally discarding the fact that experience is the best teacher, certainly. But if we actually look for growth in different industries, it's always important to bring in people who might have various case studies of how it has happened and how what has worked in other places.
Board,
and bring not somebody with a myopic center like, okay, this is
how
how
it's
we've been doing
done.
it, this is how it's been done, no. So in that situation, we can have both experiences. Both of them can actually learn how we do it and teach us how we can do it better. So I think there's a way we can actually see.
Yes, let me even give this example quickly.
Sorry, I was going to say when you said that, at the end of the day, it's a case of you can't really do it exclusively. It depends on what the need is at that particular point in time.
Yes.
Do you understand? It's a relative situation that
Whatever works by
May I
industry.
say that, I remember when, after I got on the show, you know, we have to read the papers and get the story and then say the story the way it is and all of that. So I went for acting auditions and then I was given a script. The guy I was paired with, immediately they gave me the script. I looked at it and I dropped it. Okay, let's go. I was like, that was fast. Do you act before? I said, not really that much. He said, so how were you able to swallow the script and you're about to, just go in and show stuff? And that's okay. Well, I read newspapers every morning where I have to try and remember what I've read. So I think that has opened that part of my brain. Now imagine putting a Nima or Topman who's been on this show for how many years in that. They just need to look at it and then they are ready. That has solved 50% of the acting. So the next thing now they will now want to, reform is maybe my facial attribute, how I now balance it up. But the major thing is because I have a wider scope, I can easily take on the very simple things and the very hard things quickly. I can easily assimilate more than the person who doesn't have the qualifications.
Omobola says in Nigeria, we place premium over qualifications above competence and or experience. However, as for promotion, who should be superior? Education gives people advantage. Ideally, experience should count, especially here where there's hardly any growth. Elizabeth says, oh, my dear, I am a teacher and still an undergraduate in the University of Lagos. I have 6 years experience.
Okay. All right, let me go on a break now. We'll come back. We'll take on other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back. I think our celebrity guest is also joining us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. We have with us ARA in the building. How you doing?
I'm doing very
And it's
well.
her birthday.
Happy birthday! Drum roll! Happy birthday to you!
Happy birthday. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you so
And thanks for
much
the
for
cake.
having me.
We're going to celebrate afterwards.
Yes, I know.
So before you came on, we were talking about this being a master's degree holder versus experience.
Okay.
In your view, do you think if you own the company, would you retain somebody who's been there for many years versus getting somebody who has a 2 master's degree and fits into your industry? What would you think?
Well, I think I think experience matters.
Okay.
Even though I'll be bringing in somebody who's got all I think the new person could learn a thing or two from someone who's been on ground. I think they can actually work together rather than dispose.
Viva.
Yes,
But you will still bring the new person.
definitely.
That means
Thank
you are one
you.
of these companies that will be asking you for 10 years experience for a fresh
One that
graduate.
just
job.
graduated.
Well, experience is important, but I like the fact that you said let's find it. We have to have that balance.
Exactly.
Bring them together.
Yes.
It's a good way to do that.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to move on to our other topic. These days, both men and women have carved a niche for themselves working as industry professionals in various reputable organizations and even as far as working their way to the top management. However, the question always arises as to who is more emotionally competent in the art of leading. So would you rather have a woman boss or a male boss? You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet us at TVC. Please hashtag YourVTVC so we can read your tweet. Let's talk about male boss versus female boss, or who has that emotional strength to be a leader.
When you first said it, Ara and I looked at each other because we women, we know ourselves. Agbadu. We're not easy to work with. Why are you looking at me
I'm
like
waiting for you.
Let me land this
I
time
totally
because
disagree.
No, wait, before you disagree, let me continue. No, unlike you, my Shiro, and this is not kissing ass, you know I've always told you that you have a maturity with which you deal with people, and a lot of the people that work with you are even older. But you give everybody regard, you listen to them, it's as if you're actually taking their emotional intelligence as well as every other. But that's the bottom line. And let me speak it now in English. I worked with a lady in government, deputy governor.
Hey, don't mention the state too.
I will mention, let me put it at that. You see, I know power intoxicates, but if you see an intoxicated woman, a power-intoxicated woman,
He's more
they're
intoxicated
hard
than the man.
to deal with. The men are easy. The men are easy. But women in power, let me just, because you didn't let me mention him, I wanted to
Don't mention the
break
state too.
table,
Don't break that table, please.
collapse the building.
I disagree with you because I think as women, we don't give ourselves enough credit. I think as women, we don't support ourselves. In fact, you are in an organization where the woman is the head, but you, because you are a woman as well, you feel, who is she? So we're the first, people to start disrespecting them because she's a woman. So we don't support each other. But aside from that, a woman has been blessed with the capacity to lead. It's something that's inborn. And if you go back to the medieval times, you see that even when they had the lords and the kings and all of that, the women were calling the shots. The women were running things. It was their idea that the men were selling. You see those men, they leave the homes, they go to all those, what do they call those places where you see the escorts and everything. It's the ladies' ideas that they run their states with. So we have that power. But because we do not support ourselves, we feel, you're a woman, so what do you have to offer? But when it comes to leadership, it's not about a woman or a man. It's about your temperament as a person. It's about how you relate with other people, your interpersonal
Your
skills.
people skills.
It's not about the sex, so to speak.
right.
So for me,
me
that's
let you
just
come in.
You have gone before, but you came back.
Yeah, she saved
Because
it
if
with
you
that
did not
last
put
point.
that ending, I would
You
have
forbid
rushed
me.
at you.
I for
Because seriously, it's about a person's personality and disposition, whoever your boss is. Sometimes you'll be shocked. The positions that you expect women to even be more understanding and lenient, they are the ones that are just difficult because they are the people Muriel call do it the same way over and over and over again. And a young, innovative man might be more understanding. And it's always usually about your interrelations, whether that person is more understanding of you as an employee, puts your benefits and interests ahead as well as theirs in an organization, rather than, always bring you down. There are some people that are not approachable. Personally, no matter whether the agenda, you cannot approach them, and they're your boss. So how do you even pitch and, show yourself in such an
One of the
establishment?
things I've always told people that one of the greatest strengths anybody can have is how to manage your boss, regardless. I've had the worst and I have the best. I've had a boss who told me, when you're talking to me, put your hands behind your back.
Bagam.
You talk to me, don't use. When she called me on the phone, I say, hey, well, it was a she. I call her, I say, hey, what's up? Don't tell me that. You tell good afternoon, ma.
Bagam.
This is somebody that we're like the same, we're peers.
Bagam.
But but you know what? I gave her what she wanted.
She's a she.
Listen, listen. You see, and I like the fact that it's all about temperament, and I'll come to you.
Temperament, yeah.
Because I took all that SHIT, I took it up confidently. A lot of women wouldn't have. They would have thought, why can't you talk to me like that? When I'm talking to her in her office, she makes me put my hands behind my back. I'm not a primary school student.
She's a she.
I'm a graduate. In fact, it's not what the shit master, but I'm just
But
letting you
this
know what I had to go
happens to be
through.
a she.
But I didn't do anything against her. And so I did what I was supposed to do. She forced me every single day to write a full-page report on what I have done and what I have not done. At the end of that week, you must probably, those kind of difficult jobs that she won't read it all.
She just
that report
wants to
must
make
be.
you.
I'm almost done. I'm heading somewhere. But you see, as a woman and as a young lady at the time, I did it. I terribly bad about it.
You stooped to conquer.
I stooped to conquer. But those reports she made me do is what helped me get a promotion in my next job. Because I got so used to doing reports. I said, every small morale provided reports. And I want you, we need to report, take it easy. Before you know it, before you know it, my boss said, okay, Mariah, please do that report for us. Before you knew it, so sometimes when people come, when a woman does that, we get all defensive. But so what? I would advise, take it all in. Because
Now let me
jump in and I'll come to you. What are your thoughts on this whole
Exactly. It's not a gender thing as far as I'm concerned. It's temperament. And of course, a lot of people have had most difficult experiences. And those people who demand, such form of respect and sort from subordinates or from, they have personal issues that needs to be sorted. So they bring it to the workplace. So when they bring it to the workplace, exactly. So it's a low self-esteem. They need to be, they need every time for somebody to
validate.
No, not well.
That's the word, validate.
To submit to them first.
Exactly.
To validate.
To validate that, hey, I'm your boss. Just like when the ballet starts saying, I'm the man of this house. You know that's something, but you don't need to. We know you're the man of the house.
Yes.
You understand?
But back to Red Morayo, that's what you get in the civil service. So if you want to be called Oga,
you do it for them and they're happy with
makes
it.
life easy. So just recognize each person's position. What is important is that you ensure that you have a good working relationship.
I want us to take an angle. Go ahead.
Yeah, back to the point that you made, even though I wanted to stress on the fact that she's a she, we all know she's a she. The point I wanted to make is you had an attitude of let me learn.
Yes.
She didn't teach you how to write reports. She made you do them.
Yeah.
You applied yourself to the reports. I'm sure there were times she sent them back, saying go and work on them. And you kept it because no knowledge is ever lost. So pat yourself on the back for that. It wasn't this woman that influenced that ability. She was still a she.
So we still have workers who come up with their own attitude of even if you are paying me and they are not ready to learn. They are not ready to to put themselves in that position to, no matter what you see. I had a boss, a man. A he now, not a she. Yes. Who would tell me that when I'm talking to you, don't look at me in the eye. Put your head down. And who would expect me when I come every morning to go to his office and dobale? Before going to yes, and I didn't know that it's supposed to happen in that sort of environment because it was a multinational company, so to speak. But then he wanted, and every other person was doing it except me. And me, I was a young, very foolish. They didn't even gist me. This is what we do. So I was this man's enemy for a long time. I had no idea. And he was a man. He was tough. When he comes into the class, everybody will stand up and pay attention to him. He carries. In fact, when you give him an idea, we have meetings regularly. And then, what do you want? What do you think we should do in this department? What do you think? And everybody brings that idea. He takes that idea. Hold on. He takes that idea and he brandishes it.
And brings it back as if I came up with something last night.
Thank you. So what do you do in that situation?
No, we can agree that what we're saying is that it's about the person.
It's about the person.
It's not the gender, it's about the person and your attitude, your people skills and blah, blah, blah.
Maybe it might be more for women because, of course, you have a lot, like I mentioned, to deal with back home. So the woman carry pressure. The pressure is left, right, and center. She's coming. I want to be giving up something, she will immediately she will hit it back at you. So you think she's more difficult. She doesn't want to come and deal with you as well as deal with all the several things that she has to
working
do
with you. Don't I have issues?
Wait now, a man who has a woman behind the success story.
No, it's always like that.
You
For
know, behind
example,
every
the man
success
you
story-
were talking about now
because
is
men
probably
sorry.
somebody who has a wife
man-
who doesn't respect him at all.
No, I mean a man who has a
think so.
supportive wife who takes care of all the several baggages that women have to deal with for supportive husbands already. In their career, women have to deal with for supportive husbands.
Let's even
who come
support
to work
ourselves
even a more
as women.
balanced person.
I'd like
That's the bottom
I'd
line.
like to wrap up on that.
Yes, let's
because
support ourselves
Women
as
need
women.
to support each other.
We need
you know,
to.
because I mean, I have worked. In fact, trust me. You see, I can write a book on this topic.
I'm telling you,
Because,
you
I
should.
I think I've been leading for so many years, and I've worked with people who I know are backbiting, people who are stabbing me in the back. I know for a
ones
fact.
kissing us.
But I am very cordial with you. I'm talking to you. I make you feel as if I have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Angelo.
I talk, and you see, you see, there's a delight. Listen, there's a delight in that I get when I know that I
You
know.
know that.
But you don't know that I know.
No.
That's
Let us just pretend we don't
thrill,
know.
and let us just be happy.
Background.
And that hurts that person so much.
Can it be your Yankee training though?
No, yeah, but
I don't
Because
think
at
I
times
can
you
be that way.
You know, let me say why. Let me say why. Very briefly. In Nigeria, they say, Shebomo Yorubania, you should know better. I'm not your age mates. You see, when you start that first name basis of every business, and you are calling people by their first names, they do abroad everywhere.
Yeah.
People will calm down a little. They will.
We should adopt that.
No, regardless of how corporate the place is and how many ties and suits you wear, when you get there, auntie will say, they will start to ask you, how old are you? You look in it, when they know that he's 2 years older than you that I am. The next thing you say, hi, Sumbo, she will be like,
Who is Sunshine?
please don't let this office come and make it seem as if I can let everybody know their level. They should start with the name calling.
Let me take this call that I'm calling. Chidi, are you there?
Yes.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yes, yeah, good morning, Moray.
Morning.
Happy New
Go
Year
ahead.
to
Happy New
all
Year
of
to
you.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Okay, yes, I want to respond to the first issue you raised.
Yes,
Experienced person matters a lot.
right.
Somebody that has experience is the best.
Okay.
He or she can always adjust anytime. Secondly, I will prefer a woman boss. Because when you look at the world today, women can do better.
Yes, so my
I
brother.
am expecting Nigeria to have a female president.
Things will change.
If Nigeria has a female president,
Things will change.
our boy, everybody will bow. Everybody will know his or her onions.
I'm telling you.
I don't think
I
so.
prefer a female, but women are straight to the point.
We are.
They are disciplined.
Yes.
They want you to comply.
Which
Yes.
women is
Don't
it dealing
give
with?
the down whether your husband or whatever
Like
is
go-getters.
They want you to do just do that job for them.
You will
And
deliver.
let them-
You will deliver.
God bless the
I'd like
women
to
around
ask you
Chidi. Which women you are dealing with.
straightforward people.
God bless
They
the
don't
women around
compromise
Chidi.
at any. They don't compromise things.
Yes.
Which
women?
Thank you.
Women,
Chidi, go ahead.
Chidi, thank
that's
you.
a personal
Excuse
point
me,
of view.
every time I want to talk, you people pop in. Let me talk about Chidi and these women that he's dealing with. The women that you are dealing with, they must be a special breed of women. I think there's a factory, maybe the Chinese factory, that is bringing the virus back, is producing them somewhere. Because generally speaking, women are not very okay. And I'm even one of them, and I'm telling you.
You know that
because
you're not
I'm
okay.
very.
We know you.
I'm not okay. You can tell. But I was going to say, you said no, women are natural. What did you
Leaders.
say?
Yes,
Leaders.
yes.
I would change it and say they're
Administrators.
natural breeders.
No.
No,
Administrators.
you said your own, I'm saying mine. They're natural breeders. So because we know women are supposed to have maternal instincts and they're supposed to be able to manage people, manage time, you expect the best out of them, right? We do. But most times, in our past experiences, we've always known it, or we've always assumed it was going to be the other way. Nowadays, though, look at someone like a Ruth Osime on this day. She's been there for 25 years. That's a woman that's doing it well, and she's gotten support. And with her attitude, people have stayed in the company for years, and these are women, and they've been able to stay together. So back to the bottom line, it's about the person.
Who administers the
wanted to
home?
say something?
Yes, I just wanted to say that, yes, it boils down to, being women are, we can actually multitask.
We are administrators.
Yes, we are naturally, and I key into that Nigeria
Trudy.
having a female president.
Yes,
Let me,
I key
let me
into
go on a
that.
break. When we come back, we continue this conversation.
Mariah
Stay
for
with us, we'll be right
president.
back.
I support.
So I don't hear.
Only
We'll be
Naso.
right back. Yeah, okay, commercial break.
Welcome back to Your View.
Coming back. Thanks for staying with us. Right. So let's talk about women. Managing everything. Yes, we'll talk about women leaders, how they are in the offices. Is it okay to manage a woman, a female boss? But how, people always ask women this question, how do you balance it all? How do you have the life? And I'd like to start with you, Ara.
Okay.
Have the life and then, have kids, the whole, you don't want to, you have that guilty feel of, I'm not spending enough time with my children or my family, or even extended family members don't see you, and your career, you want to build your career. And I always juxtapose that to when you're 70 and 75, when it's all said and done, what do you have? Yes, you have a career, but at the end of the day, they're going to go. Family is there. What are you doing to build that? So I'd like to hear it come to you. How does a woman balance it all?
A woman needs to, okay, let me start with my mom. She's in her 70s right now, and on Christmas Day, I went to her. Everyone at Level was just a house help that was with her. And she was like, okay, Shotin Loni. And I said, yes, Mom. And I saw her look. So I decided to stay back. There and there, I said to myself, one day is going to come to this. So you must try everything possible as a woman. It's a woman that actually unites the family, that keeps the family. So at this stage for me, I have a son. My son is 11-year-old. And I make sure, it's supposed to be in the boarding house. Sometimes it goes. But most of the time, when I'm around, I keep him very close. We talk, we relate. I reach out to my brothers, but I tell you, I wish I could do more because my career, being a celebrity and all of that, takes a whole lot. But let me say something, Mujara Migba, in that, like yesterday, I was still at my 12. I will go, of course, I won't dress like this, but I do regular things that keeps me grounded, so that
even a bit
my
hard
head
to-
does not fall off.
To reconcile the
Let
two,
me take
because
this call. I'll come to you. Good morning, Ibrahim. Are you there?
Morning.
Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is my first call.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Right? The issue of women, honestly, women are always the best boss, in fairness. Because of the, when you even look at the corporate world nowadays, you realize that women have been giving jobs because of their multitask ability. But sincerely, if you work with a woman, they are very difficult to work with because of the fact that, okay, I used to have a boss. That she's a production manager in a production company. And she was very agile, very okay. In fact, she got rapid promotion because of her behavior. But every other person in the whole factory used to call her witch. That woman, she's a witch. That woman, she's a witch. Meanwhile, I used to get close to her. So one day I started finding a way. I asked her, I said, Madam, why is it that everybody keeps saying that you're a bad person? But I don't see you as a bad person. She now said, don't mind her. She said, the reason why they used to say that was that there are a lot of things that is about complex, that she has some kind of complex that the kind of jokes that you do with a boss as a man, you cannot do with a woman because she will not give them opportunity to even play with her.
Yes.
Not of saying anything. So that's her way. Now, but in fairness, she was performing and she was getting a rapid promotion. So the women, they are very tough to work with based on that complex. But at the same time, they are always, because they all the paraphernalia, like all those bad things that guys do, they are always detailed, look very detailed, and do everything according to the way it's supposed to be.
Is that not how it's supposed to be?
Thank you very
Detailed.
much. Thank you very much.
They're
Yes, go ahead.
organized.
when you first started talking, you were happy until he said women have problems. There are some that are winches, and he knows. So he was saying it, and he was making you happy. Based on how you manage things, I had to actually say, it's almost like you have an alter ego. Because when you're playing the drum, it's like a spirit takes over you, which I'm sure it does.
Yes.
And I mean, to see you sitting here docile and just talking clearly, I'm like, I can't reconcile the two.
Yes.
But to everybody that God gave talents to, he also gives you a way, he enables you.
Yeah, he does.
and he supports you with a tribe
He does.
that will make it work.
Very.
So anybody that is doing it well should thank whoever her tribe is, because she didn't do it all by herself.
Let me come to Nima on this, on your thoughts of
Yeah.
how do we all put it all together? Because we're talking about female bosses now. It's not easy having female bosses. It's difficult. Some are saying it's a good thing. But at the end of the day, that woman she's a mother, she's a sister, she's a daughter, she has so many caps.
She's a wife.
And she's a wife. You know, how do you think, would you suggest that a woman, regardless of where she is, balances all those roles? Let me come to you.
Like they said, nobody is a Voltron. You need your tribe. You have your tribe, and you must never forget that tribe. So me, you know my story, and I always say it on the show. I have such a supportive system of women. At some point, it seemed like some women in that tribe were against me. Until I sat down and reviewed my life and saw that I was the one treating them badly. And I reviewed that relationship, and it's worked for me. I can't be here for the past 1 week or until yesterday. Over 1 week, since January 1, I got home past 8 every single day. How is it possible that I'm a mother in that arrangement?
And you get here as early as when?
And I leave home the next day, latest 6 a.m. So how is it possible that I'm functioning as a mother and a wife in that situation? So I cannot underplay ever. When I do it, I call my husband and say, I just want to appreciate you, I thank you. And he's looking like, maybe Ofegbowo. He doesn't know that I'm just plainly, simply reviewing as I'm driving. And I usually do this.
I have a caller now, but you see, the reality is, it's not easy.
It's not. It's the support system.
Stop doing gender roles.
Yes.
Defining them.
Good morning, are you there?
Yeah.
Hello.
Mariah, good morning.
Hey, long time. Happy New Year to you, Yakub.
Thank you, Mariah. Although I cannot be able to see you people because power wouldn't come here, I've just done what they normally do.
Sorry.
Having said that, Mariah, to me, it depends on individual. Obviously, I've said it earlier. But for me, as a person, personally, it's my own personal opinion. I prefer a woman to be my leader in an organization. Why? Why? Because I found out that women, they normally be a listening leader than be men, with due respect. The example is not far from us here. You personally, as Borai on that video, you are the example that I can even give.
Oh,
because
you have not worked it out.
When your co-host in that studio, normally sometimes you always call them to attention, and then you always see something from the other side. And then another example is Alakija of this world. They are a leader. The former Liberian president is also a leader. So how come they made to be a leader? Because they are listening leaders. So although the woman is a woman problem by themselves.
Yes.
Because if a woman finds herself in an organization and then they will be beef each other. Which I don't think is
They are not happy.
Thank you very much, Yakub.
I think Yakub just likes to walk on that.
May I say
Yakub
that,
likes to walk on that.
on the issue we're talking about,
Go ahead, Virgil.
for me, it's all about what your values are as a woman. So there are people who are not, they are not interested in having a family. And it's okay. You wouldn't judge them for that. So their own is to follow their career and become somebody. That is what they have been called to do. And they do it well. We have the likes of Oprah, who said she's not going to have a child or get married. And she's facing her life. She's impacting her world. She has schools for the orphans. And she's doing amazing. That's her calling, you know. So, but there are people who value family. They put them, like, when it comes to your values, the family comes first. When you are in that space, it's very important that you organize yourself in such a way, you plan yourself in such a way that you give room for that family. Because if you are in that space and you don't give room for your family, no matter how your career blows, at the end of the day, you will be unhappy. You will lose something from that angle that would naturally have made you happy.
You're absolutely right. I remember when I was being groomed as ARA, I was, for 7 years of my career, I was shut away from everybody. Not even my family could assess me. Yes, no, not even my mom, nobody. So it got to a stage that my mom said, Emimo Bie, why can't I see you? I knew you were going to be this person, but this platform is taking you away. So that support system, see, there were times during that period that I wanted to take my life. because there was no system. There was a day I just brought all the breakables in the house and I started breaking them against the wall. I was frustrated, I was tired, I was depressed because ARA was all over the world and everything, but a lot was going wrong. But I needed, yes. So at some point I would sneak out to go be with somebody. I couldn't even be seen with anyone. I was like, now. So at the end of the day, it was one of the things that made me decided not to renew the contract at that time. So we all...
Family was important.
Thank you. Family is extremely important. Like my son was saying, Mommy, I need to buy you something for your birthday today. I said, my son, you are the best birthday gift.
The joy you give me is enough.
Is enough. Because I don't know what or where I would be without that boy.
And that's a sincere conversation I really want us to have, because you've been through quite a bit also, raising your kids by yourself and all that. And the conversation is, let us be real, it's not easy.
It's not.
But something must suffer. Talk about wastes morale. Stop making it look as if don't make it look as if you can do it all. Something will give. Just know what you're focusing on at every point in time. So right now maybe it's your career. Next time it's your family. Compartmentalize it. But just don't understand that's the reality.
That's the reality.
You can't do everything because they make us have this. Oh, women are multitaskers.
We're multitaskers, but
something gives.
I was not born with it. I learned it.
I'm multitasking, but the bottom line is, imagine someone like me who had to be daddy and mommy.
Yes.
And the job for daddy was not where mommy was meant to be. Am I to be division myself into twice? I couldn't do it, I can't. And it was taking a toll on me, but it was just a case of, if you want us to survive, let's put emotions aside. I'm the only one, by the grace of God, that cares about you. And I am your caregiver, I'm your breadwinner. You have to forgive me because I'm going to take a step away from the maternal role and face career for a while.
At some point.
And we're going to keep adjusting it till we get it right because it must work.
It must work.
And my second born just turned 18 this year. And I'm able to relax. I'm looking at my life now yesterday when I was in Abuja and I was remembering when I first got there. It was the first time I traveled after I had left the marriage. And I came just to celebrate freedom. I still hadn't figured out what I was going to do and how I was going to sort things out.
A quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Wow.
Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Oh my goodness, Lady just said something that made me laugh.
Repeat.
Right, good to have you back. I'm not going to say that on national television, I'm sorry. Right, so ARA, we got to find out what's happening to you because you have a few more minutes left. Tell us, what's up? What's going on with you?
Well, a lot of beautiful things like today, my birthday. I'm
Happy
grateful.
birthday again.
Yes, and I have World Female Dramas Festival coming up.
That's
It's the
big.
first
Where is
ever,
that?
but it's taking place in Ghana.
In Ghana, nice.
Yes, I took it to
Fantastic.
Ghana. Of course, I have Inspire Me by ARA, but this one is with Lagos State, still under wrap. We're almost done with the Ministry of Youth and Social Development.
Fantastic.
Well done.
We know you're involved in tourism
Yes.
in Osun State. How is that going? Is that still on?
Yes, it's still on. The movie Oshofunke is, I basically dabbled into movies to project our tourism potentials through our
You're a
movies.
producer.
Yes, I am
Okay.
a producer.
That's
good. Yes.
Goodness
Sarah, you're a
me.
legend, though. I think this
No,
should
very
focus
much
on
so.
you. An
And
expert
the
quality.
grammar, let me tell
Thank
you
you
why I
very
like you again, because I didn't know they had you several times. So I was
Okay.
going to start, it was a case of introduce yourself to me again, Ara, because I want to believe that I speak English very well, but I do Alaga work and I enjoy speaking Yoruba. So when I see people that have
Good command of English and Yoruba.
command of English and Yoruba, and not, most importantly, in our generation, have taken an interest in our culture. The thing makes me so happy. So I was just following the hashtag about you one day.
Okay.
I live abroad in case they didn't tell you.
They didn't tell me.
That's why I'm asking the questions. You get. So one day I was just following the hashtags and I was checking you, and when you were drumming, Ara, orí bẹ́ẹ̀dì ni mo wà tára mi ti ń ṣe báyìí tó ń ṣe báyìí tó ń ṣe báyìí, because it was as if I like about me.
Oh, God.
You know? So when I now see you here with this phone here and the speaking English, it makes me happy.
Oh, thank
That
you.
is experience
Thank
as
you.
well as qualifications combined together.
you.
We jam it. May I ask you this question? Because I'm curious. I watched you when you performed at a celebration, and there was this air you came in with. I did a bit of stage performance as well. So when you came in, something touched me.
I wonder.
What have you not done in this?
She has done
I sing now. I do
Yeah.
stage now.
Go ahead.
And I felt somebody, I
like,
felt
Oprah,
someone's
when
presence
everybody's
when
on her
she
show,
came
she'll be
in.
like, I've done
And it
that
wasn't as if you were doing gospel. I just felt something when you started. Even my husband stood up because I was there with him. I was there.
This Oduduwa spirit.
As in, so wait now, allow me to ask this question. Auntie Laide, so is there something you conjure before you go on stage? Because that level of presence is not ordinary.
Is that
Okay, let me. Yeah, definitely,
process
there's spiritual, right? But you see, as a daughter of the Most High, He says we are gods, and so I'm a goddess,
Yes.
and I run my realm. I
energy
control
around
the energy around me. I'm in tune with all the elements.
Yes.
So once I'm coming on stage, and I carry a very unique instrument, and I always dare to say the talking drum chose me, because apart from being a direct descendant of Alafin for Yoma Atiba, I believe that there was a reason why that drum was placed in my hand. My first official picture, my third day, I had my hand as a baby. I have the picture. My hand was like this. It was like I came with it. Yes,
Ready.
Ready. This, my hand was like this. So when people say when they see ARA, they see a goddess, they feel
felt it.
something. Yes, it's spiritual. It's God.
Right.
Yes.
It is a spiritual thing.
Interesting.
We have been bringing gods on set
We have
recently.
to wrap up, but
Oh, I wanted
it's a
to say
birthday,
one more thing.
and we have to just congratulate you.
Thank you
And our
very much.
director, Bukola Abdulsalam, also her birthday today. Happy birthday, Bukola.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Bless you. Yes, she had told us we have to cut this cake.
Yes.
But it's not knife, no knife.
Oh, that was with the knife.
Yes,
While
yes.
they
They brought
it
it.
knife.
They-
BC, I wanted to explain to you about
Okay.
the spirituality
Okay.
of
Very
things.
nice, please,
Be
as
bringing
well.
the knife as we're saying it. It's when you say, does she conjure? When people get to understand that we are blessed with 5 senses and God wants us to use them all to communicate with Him.
Beautiful.
It's not just about performing art. And when you act, it should work for you.
Yes.
You should understand that.
We have to count
Check
3
what
and cut the cake.
Yes, so
Okay, give me a 1. 1. Give me a 2. 2. Give me a 3. 3. What does it say? Happy birthday, sis.
thank you so much.
All right, have a
Thank
fabulous
you.
day. We'll see you
Thank
tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Give me an A. Give me an R.